Jokers are liked by everyone, and why wouldn't they? The way they make everyone laugh and amuse is irresistible. Whether it's a child or an adult, they attract everyone. But what if these very jokers started giving you a painful and terrifying death? A death beyond your imagination, and not just one or two, but 33 innocent lives lost. Today, let's talk about the most terrifying serial killer in history, John Wayne Gacy. John was known by the name Pogo. He often entertained at children's parties and small functions. It is said that John was a kind, generous, and very liked person. But John had a very dark and terrifying past that the world was unaware of. John was raised by an abusive alcoholic father who taunted him for being unmanly and cowardly. He was beaten cruelly by his father, who even attacked him multiple times with a hair removal razor. John had a very traumatic childhood, which adversely affected his mental health. As he grew older, John began experiencing mental blackouts and seizures. John was never able to complete his school due to domestic violence. However, it was his determination that led him to attend business school and later become a manager at Iowa KFC. While in Iowa, John dated Marlyn Myers, got married and had 2 sons. Despite this, John was a sex offender and was also found guilty of raping one of his employees. John was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. John divorced his first wife while in jail and never saw his children again. John was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment, but he was released in just 1.5 years. As soon as he was released, he left for Chicago. John got remarried and bought farmland. John starts his own business and begins to rebuild his ruined life among a new community of people. But what the people of the new community did not know about this lovable clown was that he enjoyed giving sexual pain to people. Such people are called sex addicts, who derive sexual pleasure or excitement from causing pain, humiliation, or suffering to others. John was already convicted in several sexual crimes and rape cases. As soon as his second wife divorced him, he started carrying out the massacre. After this, he was known as Killer Clown throughout America, and he made his own house the center of dreadful murderers. John's neighbors say that for many years they were repeatedly woken up in the morning by the sound of muffled screaming. Later, they came to know that those screaming sounds were of those innocent people who John used to beat mercilessly. John also had an 18-year-old employee named John Butkovich, who suddenly went missing in July 1975. Actually, the thing was that John had not paid Butkovich's salary for a long time. Hence, once Butkovich stopped John in the parking lot and asked him to pay his salary, John called Butkovich to his house and made him unconscious by mixing an intoxicating drug in his liquor. After this, John handcuffed him and strangled him to death. John buried his body under his house. The local police did not conduct a background check on John in connection with Butkovich's disappearance. Butkovich's parents called the police more than 100 times, urging them to investigate John, but the local police repeatedly ignored their requests. John kept committing murders one after another, and there was never any police investigation into him. This was also because John had positioned himself as a trustworthy, respected, and loved person in society. About 3 years later, when a 15-year-old boy, Robert, went missing, the police called John for questioning. John arrived at 3 in the morning, wrapped in dirty clothes, and stated that his car had been stuck for the last 6 hours. However, the police investigators found out that this was a lie. John had claimed that his car was stuck and in poor condition, but there was no evidence to support this. When doubts arose, the police conducted a background check on him and eventually uncovered his previous convictions. They also discovered that John was not only involved in Butkovich's disappearance, but also in the disappearance of another employee, Gregory Godzik. John was so confident in himself that he happily invited the police to his house to investigate. When the police arrived, they began to smell a strange odour, like that of blood and rotten meat. A search warrant was immediately prepared, and when the police excavated the garage set from the house, 29 bodies were found inside. It also contained the body of Butkovich. 33 dead bodies were found one by one, and 6 of them have not been identified to this day. Using science and technology, facial reconstructions were done for those 6 unidentified bodies, but till date, nothing has been known about their identity. Of John's 37 victims, the youngest one was only 14 years old, while the eldest was 21. However, an attempt was also made to determine whether John had committed any murders before 1972, but the investigators were unsuccessful in this regard. Although we meet thousands of people throughout our lives, and perhaps even pass by millions, we can never know which of them might prove to be bad for us. If you like this video, then like, share, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.